Hello, it's Monday, October 26th, and you are finishing up your bone chapter this week. It's a long chapter. There's a lot going on in it, not just the bones, but and learning the bones and some of the bone parts, but also distinguishing between the axial and appendicular skeleton, classifying your bones, knowing the functions of bones, how bones develop, the two types of ossification, and so on. So there is a lot of information in this chapter. I do suggest that you do the activities, the bone activity, in order to identify your bones. You have to know the parts of a long bone. There will be pictures on the exam, so you've got to know your bones. So the general bone terms, Quizlet is useful, and then to learn your bones and bone parts, the second Quizlet is pretty useful. So there are two labs that you have to turn in this week, the axial skeleton lab and the appendicular skeleton lab, and they're quite large. So it's difficult to submit them, so you have to follow these directions for submitting by uploading them into OneDrive in your Ramsmail account. So the directions are there, and then you can submit it. Be careful, you don't have to do, when it says identify a structure, you do not have to give a definition. It's just saying to look at that structure and identify where it is on the bone. I've had some students do way too much work by giving the definitions of an identification. So after you take your exam tomorrow night, you will begin your Module 7, which is the joints. Now, joint chapter is not very difficult, but you've got to memorize that chart. So that chart, watch the narrated PowerPoints. There is a chart in the first half of that book talking about a syndesmosis, synchondrosis, synostosis, all these different difficult terms for different kinds of joints. You've got to know that backwards and forwards. So do flashcards for that chart to learn those. Make sure you can distinguish between a structural classification of a joint and a functional classification. Functional refers to range of motion. And then next week, in addition to doing the joints, you've got a lab. The lab is not, there is no worksheet for the joint lab, just work in visible body and quizzes in visible body, but also there is a lab midterm next week. So you do want to spend some time studying on that. It's on all the labs that you've handed in, so you'll study by using your labs for that midterm. So let me know if you have any questions. I can help you with that chart if you need help with that chart in terms of how to memorize that. Just let me know that if you need any help whatsoever, it's very easy to contact me, and I hope you do so. Have a great week.